Plastic Planet. With your host, it's Knick-Knack!
Hey, welcome back inside of the Plastic Planet. Now, as promised earlier in the week, here is part 2 of the Plastic Planet room tour. Alrighty, and welcome back into this newly terraformed Plastic Planet. This Plastic Planet which has been completely reorganized, redone, and well, almost entirely reorganized and redone, but I'm really digging it because it's a lot more pragmatic in here. It's a lot more open. I'm actually got natural sunlight bathing on me right now. It's a much more pleasant place to be. Not that being surrounded and being overcome with action figure awesomeness isn't cool, but you know, like anything in the world, I don't like permanence. That's the reason why I've never gotten a tattoo. There's some things I don't like looking at every single day in the same goddamn place. So it's good to change things up, and I really wanted to go with more of a, I don't want to say minimalist inspiration here because it's certainly not, there's certainly no hint of minimalism in this room, but it is more organized. It is more display worthy for more of my premium items. I mean, like I said earlier in the video, we are our own curators in our own little private museum, and I really wanted to make the Plastic Planet, this main room itself, you know, really feel like a Star Wars display room. Because, you know, let's face it, the lion's share of my collection is actually Star Wars. And while I'm a little grouchy at Lucasfilm, that too will pass. And I'm going to treasure this room as it is for a great long time, I believe. So anyway, let's just get right to it. I'm going to show you guys off basically the highlights of what I've done in here, and I think it just looks really, really good, and I think I've really given new life to some collectibles that I've had for a really long time. Alrighty, so I'm going to take a nice panoramic view of the room, and to all my long-time viewers, I hope this isn't too redundant for you guys. A lot of this stuff, actually most of the stuff you've already seen, but nevertheless, new things and new places is always exciting, or old things in new places is always exciting. So just taking a panoramic room, look at all that sunlight, and this is the corner of the room that I'm really digging the most, and I'm just getting the most, I just feel like I'm finally getting some mileage out of my Jabba the Hutt Sideshow collectibles 1/6 scale piece that I bought so many years ago. I think I've had this piece for over 10 years now. I bought it when Sideshow came out with it. I think it was 07 maybe. You know, the funny thing is I paid only $300 for this, and that was retail. The Jabba himself was $100, the throne was $300, and then of course the add-ons like the Salacious Crumb Creature Pack was like $40. And so I paid maybe $350 total for this entire set, which is funny because Sideshow just announced that they're basically, you know, revamping this set, and it's going to be almost 800 buckaroos. That's a lot of lettuce, man. And honestly, at first I thought I was kind of jealous because I thought the new Jabba actually looked better than the one I have. But you know what? As I've kind of marinated on it more, I'm pretty damn happy with this guy. And I certainly don't feel like I need to replace him anytime soon. Plus, I've also kind of looked at it, and Uncle Pat and I have had some long discussions about that piece as well. It just kind of looks like the new Jabba, the throne is too small on him. So, I don't know, this one just seems to fit just right. It's perfect, doesn't need to be replaced. For once, I don't have to replace something, and my wallet is screaming a big, big thank you. So anyway, I'm really stoked. I wanted to give this piece a little more of exclusivity in some room real estate, so to speak. And I think it looks really, really fantastic in that corner. Another key piece that I put in another place. When I first moved into this house, I had my Dewback set up here, and I actually kind of got this whole like nook, which is above my gas fireplace. I kind of designed it for my Dewback with lighting and paint, and then I kind of went away from it because when I run the fireplace, the heat does rise up, and this lip here can get really hot, and even my Dewback itself would get kind of hot. And I was kind of worried about it, but you know, it's now April 1st. You know, spring is here, and not that I run my fireplace very much during the winter anyway. So you know, I think it should be fine for now. I don't plan on any fires in the near future in the gas fireplace. So you know, he's going to stay up there for right now. And boy, he really looks good up there. I actually went with that color. I painted that color myself to kind of give it a little more of a Tatooine earth feel to it. It looks really, really good. So I'm digging that piece. And I also took the liberty in just getting out some pledge and dusting. That makes such a difference with your collectibles. And sometimes I'm always worried I'm going to ruin something when I'm dusting it. But boy, I got the pledge out and dusted him, and he just started really shined up really fast. It looks really good. So I'm really impressed with how this piece looks right now. Although I do have some paper towel yucky right there I need to get off. But other than that, he looks really fantastic and looks really good in that fireplace nook. That's a great grail piece in a really optimum location. Alrighty, over here in this little corner is my workstation with my editing computer where I always edit every single episode of Knickknack's Plastic Planet, and I do spend sometimes up to several hours editing an episode. Maybe because my editing software sucks, or I don't know how long it should take, but it takes me sometimes several hours depending on the length of the episode. I always try to give you guys the best possible viewing experience I can. So that happens right in this corner. So I wanted to make this, you know, a real work-worthy corner, and you know, have some collectibles over here, have some inspiration over here, but not have it too overwhelming. And I think it was getting overwhelming before. So as you can see, I've got some light collectibles here interspersed with some family pictures, looking really good. There's some Gentle Giant in there. There's actually some Black Series in there as well. There's some standard old Hasbro 3 3/4 inch. I just really like that C-3PO and R2-D2. Always kind of dug them a lot. Some titanium titanium diecast Millennium Falcon from way back in the day. And there is a vintage Millennium Falcon diecast that I got off eBay. Unlike the one that's downstairs that was from my childhood, that was all battle damaged from me. This one is clean, looking really nice. I dig that piece a lot. And then of course up here is my premium format Han Solo and Chewbacca. The Han Solo one is one of the first premium formats they did initially, Sideshow Collectibles that is, from the mid to late 2000s, I guess. And then of course there's the first rendition of Chewbacca they did. They have a new version of him up right now. It's basically the same Chewbacca. They just maybe changed the paint apps a little bit and gave him a new base. But this one works great. I do dig him a lot. He's a great piece. And then I did manage, with the help of a spare Detolf shelf, I managed to get my whole cantina nook up here on this little thin shelf, and because of that glass shelf there, it's reinforced and it's very safe up there. But I really kind of dig this in the corner here. It's a nice corner piece just because of the shape of it and whatnot. I really dig it up there. It's nice. It's out of the way. It's a large, cumbersome piece, as you know if you have this. I got this one on sale during one of Sideshow Spooktacular sales. I think I got it for like $100. So it was a no-brainer at the time, even though I really had no real estate for it in my collection. So I think I finally found a good place for it, and I'm really, really happy where it is. So it looks great up there, although the light feature is kind of hard to get to, but I don't really turn on the light feature. These lights light up, and it's okay. It's nothing to really write home about, so I don't use that feature of it too much. But nevertheless, looking really good up there. Han, that old Sideshow Han, and then the Greedo, looking fantastic in there. Then, of course, here's some other effects. This is where I keep my camera when I'm not using it. I'm using it right now. And, of course, I got my Metacom R2-D2 and R5-D4. And then I got this. I wanted to show this off to you guys because, you know what, when I like to display collectibles, I like to kind of think of things as like think of it as like a choir setup strategy. You know, you want to see all the little kids in the choir, so you use risers. Risers are so key to a good collectible display, as I'm sure you probably know. I got this particular riser. It's just an acrylic clear plastic stand at our Container Store, our local Container Store. Now, I know not everyone has a Container Store, but maybe they have I haven't checked online, but maybe you can get it online. Maybe the Container Store has an online store. But these are actually really great, these acrylic stands, and they're really great. They rise up your collection, so I've got some cameras underneath it, some personal picture of my wife and I. So, yeah, just looking really, really good there. And then, of course, over here, I'm really proud, is my vintage display, and it just looks fantastic. I really dig it. I've got it still on that yellow shelf that that I painted up. It's that same kind of yellow from the old Kenner card backs back in the day. Looking really sharp, looking really good. Again, anything vintage is a home run in my opinion. And then of course followed right by it is my Death Star playset that I got just recently back in January. Did a full review on this in my playset video I did several transmissions back. You can go back and check that out if you'd like. So looking really good. So anyway, I've got some sunlight coming in here, but I've got my Gentle Giants up there, as you can see. And then, of course, moving over here is my brand new Detolfs. I've got my my premium format Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith up there. I've got that Bandai model kit I worked frivolously on in one of my earliest videos. You can go back and see that. Actually, you know what? At the time, I thought I did kind of a shitty job, but you know, kind of looking at it, I think it's pretty good actually. And I did use those laser bolt effects. Those are actually straws from WD-40 cans. Is that a? Hey, honey, what's that website where you pin stuff? Is that not a Pinterest idea or what? So yeah, those are WD-40 straws. I mean, great laser bolts coming out of that X-Wing, looking really, really cool. Alrighty, so I'm sorry, actually I had to close the blinds there because I was actually getting just way too much light in here. So anyway, I've got my new Detolfs. They got some reflection coming off there from the sun there, but looking really nice. There's some old Sideshow figures there. The Chancellor Palpatine and the old Anakin Skywalker. Looking so forward to getting that Hot Toys Anakin Skywalker. He is pre-ordered. Can't wait to get him. Of course, I've got my Finn down here, and then of course some more Force Awakens figures. There's Rey and a First Order Stormtrooper. And I've got over here. I'm having, as you can see, I've actually got real estate. Time to buy more figures. But anyway, I've got a Kotobukiya Play Arts droid set there, and of course my Force Awakens Luke Skywalker. He looks really good in there. That's a great figure. You know, I won't parse words. I am disappointed with what they did with Luke's character in Episode 8, but still, that's a great figure. And then, of course, up here, I've got my Jen Erso that I reviewed just recently on the channel, looking great with her Detolf mate K2SO, looking awesome in there. Yeah, that's looking really good. And look how just clean everything looks here. At least I think so. You know, I may try to spruce these Detolfs up a little more in the near future, but looking really clean. That's just a nice corner. Yeah, looking really good. Got an animation cell. I think that's a reproduction from the old Clone Wars cartoon from the Micro series on Cartoon Network. My wife got that for me several years ago. I think it's a reproduction of an animation cell, but still really, really cool. And then, of course, just some miscellaneous 8x10s. I love 8x10 stills. Just really awesome. And, of course, I've got my old Detolf bank, which I really haven't done too much with in this transition. So it's pretty much stayed the same. The only few exceptions are I did get my Sideshow Collectibles Hoth or Empire Strikes Back. Let me get the Detolf open for you guys. I did get my Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker in Snowspeeder / X-Wing gear inside of the Detolf. That's just an amazing figure. I love this guy. Yeah, he's looking really, really good in there. So I did get him in there. And just, yeah, that's pretty much all that's changed up over in here. Not a really whole lot to show you guys that's brand new, that you guys haven't seen week in and week out on the Plastic Planet. That's a great set right in there too. Got my Hot Toys Stormtrooper Luke, Hot Toys Stormtrooper Han, and then of course that's a Force Awakens Chewbacca, but he looks fantastic with those three. Really looking really good. I reviewed him several transmissions ago. You can go back and check that full review out if you'd like. Looking really good. Yeah, I'm digging that a lot. And of course, I've always been proud of this. I did do this display myself. Those are my two. That's my Sideshow C-3PO and my Sideshow R2-D2. And I just Mod Podged this base by like putting play sand down and spray glue and layering it on top of itself. And then I got a nice display back there as well. Just a nice generic desert scene I got off the internet and printed out and layered it up. So it's a nice backdrop. So looking very, very cool. Just wanted to really capture the whole Dune Sea scene from the original Star Wars. Looking awesome. Here's also a nice Detolf shelf. I've got all my Imperial Astromech droids, including my prototype R2-D2, unpainted, I should say, R2-D2 in there. But he kind of looks like an Imperial Astromech, if you ask me. They look really, really cool with that old Marmot TIE Fighter pilot, which is a really, really old collectible. But boy, it holds up still. I really dig it. Yeah, Marmot. I remember back in the day when Marmots were just like the knees bees. Like, you know, you had Hasbro 12-inch, but then there was those imports, those Marmots. And they almost made a Marmot Darth Vader. That would have been amazing. I would have loved to have seen what they would have done with that. But the only Marmot I do have is that TIE Fighter pilot, and he is actually really awesome. And, you know, for a almost a 20-year-old figure, boy, he still holds up. And, of course, he's with the interrogation droid that came with my Hot Toys Darth Vader. So that's a cool shelf. I do dig that one a lot as well. Alrighty, and then just below my Detolfs in these makeshift lacks that I kind of hobbled together and reinforced with dowels and whatnot. So they're actually very, very sturdy, and they can support the weight of these Detolfs, no problem. These things have been on these for almost 2 years, no problem, no warping, no bending. So that's really cool, and it just gives some really nice display and storage options below my Detolfs if you can't see. You know, again, just vintage love down here. There's my Hoth turret Probot playset with some tauntauns and I just dig that. I showed this off in another video in my Star Wars playset video. So yeah, you can see more of that in that video. But yeah, looking really, really cool there. And of course, there's my Land of the Jawas playset with my Dewback and Stormtrooper. Yeah, that's also really awesome and fun. Alrighty, and moving down the shelf line here is that damn vintage Millennium Falcon. I've made a few strides in getting restored, but it's still got a long ways to go. That might actually make its way down into the archive room real soon. But yeah, that vintage Millennium Falcon's got a long ways to go in its restoration. I do love it, but yeah, I'm finding getting parts for it are more expensive than I want to pay for it necessarily at the moment, so it's kind of on hold. But still, it's hanging out there, and it doesn't look terrible. And then, of course, what vintage collection would not be complete without the vile gangster himself, Jabba the Hutt, from the 1983 Jabba the Hutt playset, which I featured at length in a previous transmission, the before-mentioned playset episode of the Plastic Planet. You can go back and check that one out as well. And then, of course, look at all these awesome. I got my Max Rebo band chilling there, playing some badass tunes, and of course Jabba's henchmen chilling out, digging it. Love this, actually love this shelf a great deal. And of course behind it is my Parker Brothers Battle at Sarlacc Pit game that I featured in my one of my other Star Wars countdown videos from, I would say last year sometime. Still absolutely awesome, looking really good. And here's kind of a cool collectible too. A buddy at work at mine gave me this. That is a Oral-B 1983 Luke Skywalker toothbrush, still in its package. Collect them all. Got to go to the dentist tomorrow. That's going to suck. Thanks for reminding me, Luke. And looking towering and menacing over here is my legacy collection. AT-AT Walker AT-AT all-terrain armored transport. This is a fantastic play set and one of the best, actually. These legacies between this and the Falcon are absolutely amazing. If you open up the top hatch here, you know, there's room for several figures in the cockpit itself. There's General Veers and an AT-AT driver, looking really cool. Got that battle display back there with little Hoth action with the power generators from the Echo base, looking really, really cool. And then, of course, as you come back here, you can open up the back hatches, and there's, you know, I've got guys laying strewn out in here, but there's multiple layers in here. I mean, this is just a really badass playset. I really dig it. I don't know if the lighting's real good, but yeah, that's actually really, really cool. Never actually talked about this piece much on the Plastic Planet. Then, of course, back here, if you open up his butt, right there, there's a speeder bike in there. So, it slides out. Really, really cool. I dig this piece a lot. Very cool. It's actually on a nice little track. Very cool. So, yeah, this is a great piece. Absolutely dig it. There's actually all these little compartments that open up. Really cool. Alrighty, so coming around to these shelves here where my Jabba the Hutt 1/6 scale throne is sitting on. I've got some more vintage love underneath here. Here is my original land speeder from when I was a kid, with my Luke Skywalker from when I was a childhood as well. Just two beloved childhood pieces right there. So coming around here is a new piece that I've actually never shown off on the Plastic Planet, although it is a very old piece of mine. This is from my childhood, and this is the Jabba the Hutt's Droid Dungeon, which came with these exact same three figures, which is the very rare Amanaman, EV-99, and Barata. Looking really, really cool there. That playset itself is actually a repainted Jawa droid builder from way earlier in the Kenner line, which came with a bunch of, you know, R2-D2 parts and accessories and whatnot. well, this piece didn't come with those, but came with these 3 figures instead, and I think they painted it more of a tan, whereas I think it was a little bit of a different color before that. I didn't have the original, obviously, but I had this one, and this one was very, not played with very much, so it's actually in pristine condition for a vintage Star Wars collectible from my childhood in my collection, so very stoked to still have that, and I'm really glad I finally got it on display with the appropriate action figures that it came with. So very, very cool. And then, of course, right next door is my Yoda's hut with Luke and R2D2 with sensor scope there in the quicksand, and Yoda up there. Shown this piece off before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of calories on it. Still really, really awesome. And of course, some more miscellaneous over here with that pencil bag right there, that Return of the Jedi pencil bag. That was mine from the 3rd grade. Still have that. That's a loved piece in my collection. Very, very cool. And then, of course, down here I've got some Hallmark lunch boxes to show off. That's really awesome with a Kotobukiya Yoda there, and a Gentle Giant Yoda bust as well. And lastly, on this shelf, there's just a fun shelf for you. There's my Yoda puppet from when I was a kid with a Jar Jar bank I managed to find at a local antique store. So I know Jar Jar gets a lot of hate, but I kind of like that goofy ass Gungan. So anyway, those are those shells right here, looking really nice. As I pan back, you can see my Jabba the Hutt on top of them. This is just really, really nice, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Alrighty, so now we're moving over into my more entertainment area of the room, and not a whole lot has changed over here, honestly, but it's just kind of gotten a little more decluttered, and some space has been freed up over here, and I'm really kind of digging it. Now, nothing's really changed with these shelves. I do love these shelves a lot. This is a great shelf right here. I do love my Hot Toys, Luke Skywalker, Farm Boy, Princess Leia, and Han Solo there. Really digging that. And look at that. Look at that light up blade. I know I've talked about that in a few other videos ad nauseum, but that just, God, this looks so good. I just love that. This is like one of my favorite things in my collection. So that is really awesome. Got to turn that off so I don't kill it. But yeah, that is really, really, really freaking cool. Here's another shelf that I really dig over here, and I've showed this one off as well, including sometimes in my end credits of Knickknack's Plastic Planet. But there's my Sideshow Collectibles Scout Trooper with a Hasbro speeder bike in the backdrop, and just I built this diorama up using a combination of the display stand that he came with, in addition to some fish tank and reptile pet accessories or ornaments. There's also some train set environmental pieces in there. There's actually some legitimate driftwood in there as well. And then I also printed out and kind of tried to mishmash in a picture from the redwood forest. So I don't know. I really dig that piece a lot. Anytime, and I preach this a lot in my videos, anytime you can add any kind of dioramic element to your collectibles, it just makes it pop. I love this shelf a lot. I really do dig this one. Then moving up here, I've shown these off as well. There's my Hot Toys Yoda, and behind him is again, that's from a terrarium piece. Looking really, really good. In addition to the stuff that the stand itself came with. Really, really nice. And then there is, of course, my Obi-Wan Kenobi there on a sand base. I got that off eBay. I don't know who sells these. There's a guy who actually sells these on eBay. If you want some more, some nicer bases, for more environmental-esque bases for your Hot Toys or Sideshow figures, there's a guy on eBay. Just go ahead and Google action figure stand Star Wars, and you might be able to find him on eBay. And not Google, but I should say look him up on eBay. Now, looking really, really cool. I dig that piece a lot. That's awesome. Of course, up here is my Luke, I Am Your Father diorama from Sideshow Collectibles from several years back, with another dioramic element added to it. I printed that off from I think from Neen Num. I don't know if any old collectors might remember Neen Num. He did a bunch of, they were basically for 3 3/4 inch Hasbro displays back in the day. But he's got some templates on there to print out some really nice dioramic pieces for your collectibles. Just wanted to do a shout out to him, even though I don't know if he's in the game anymore. But his website's still up and it still exists. If you just use the Google, you'll find it. But anyway, that looks really, really awesome. I do love this piece, even though it's fragile as hell and I don't even want to breathe on it half the time. It is really, really cool. Then, of course, I've got my Hot Toys R2D2 and my Bespin Luke over here, looking really nice. And then up here, I even used a red ruler to give on my LEDs to give it a little more of a volcanic red feel to it. I've got my original Sideshow Sith Lord Anakin and Obi-Wan dueling it out there. Yeah, I love that shelf. That's a great looking shelf. Alrighty, and one more piece that is I've really given some more real estate to breathe in and to really kind of enjoy, because it was really jammed up next to my television set. And that is, of course, my premium format C-3PO and R2-D2 from Sideshow Collectibles. And these two are just an amazing pair. I really dig them. I got C-3PO's lights all lit up there. R2-D2's running. Looks really, really nice. Looks like they're on the deck plating from the Millennium Falcon. As I've mentioned when I've talked about this piece before, and ooh, it's dusty. Need to dust. But as I've talked about this piece before, this is actually the second edition of this piece that came out. The first one came out with either a generic stand or like a Tatooine base, and that would have been really cool too. But I like this as well. So this is really, really nice. Digging this set a lot. And of course, they're sitting on some shelves that some IKEA cubicles that I kind of put up together, and there's some lighting in there, some red lighting. I've got this really nice dioramic piece I did. And I've showed this off as well. That's my Black Series Luke Skywalker land speeder with some play sand in there. And when I showed this diorama off originally, I did mention that there is some packing tape along the base there to keep that play sand nice and snug in there so it's not escaping. Some older Sideshow pieces down there, my favorite of which is that Lando Calrissian, which still really holds up. He actually might need to be in a better place. These two are kind of misfits now. The original Jedi Luke, which was the first Sideshow 1/6 scale figure they ever did, and of course the old Bespin Han. These two are kind of misfits in this day and age. They don't look that great, but that Lando still holds up. I still dig that Lando a lot. And then of course over here got some more Hasbro, and then of course my Sideshow Hammerhead, so he's looking good there too. So, and then of course my indoor Rebel soldiers, which are older now, but you know they still hold up. And hey, that Nick Saint guy right here, this old guy who's Nick Saint, they say now he's Captain Rex. So, yeah, a little retcon for you right there. I still think he's Nick Saint. Thank you very much. But anyway, he looks really good there with those Ewoks. Looking really, really good. Alrighty, and what centerpiece coffee table wouldn't look great without a Legacy Millennium Falcon displayed neatly underneath it? I really do dig this. This is the reason I bought this coffee table. Like everything else in this room, it was purchased at IKEA, but it just fits that Legacy Millennium Falcon perfectly. So it fits under there really, really nice. And then, of course, I've got my vintage Ewok Village hanging out in the center. I love this because I can sit and watch TV and just basically look right into the Ewok Village. And I dig that a lot. I've showed this off again in my playset episode several transmissions back. Go back and check that out if you want. But looking really good on that coffee table. Alrighty, and last but certainly not least, I've got a little bit of Darth Vader love. He's my favorite fictional character of all time, hanging out on this back couch table here. I've got my EFX helmet, which I've shined up recently, looking really, really nice, as well as this EFX lightsaber hilt of Darth Vader's, looking really nice together, really digging that. And then, of course, I've got my premium format Darth Vader, one of my very favorite pieces in my entire collection, looking very menacing and awesome. And of course, standing behind the original painting that Uncle Pat made for me for Christmas. That is an oil canvas painting. Absolutely awesome. It's huge too. The video itself does not do it justice how huge and wonderful this is. And so if I haven't thanked Uncle Pat enough, thank you Uncle Pat for this amazing, amazing painting. So anyway, that's the room right now as it looks. I think it's looking pretty damn good. Very clean, very much more organized. Less chaotic, looking really, really sharp. I can't say how pleased I am with this. It took a long time, busted my ass, took a lot of work, but it's looking really, really good. I did have to close those blinds too, by the way, because I had too much sunlight coming in, and I didn't get a chance to show off these Gentle Giants I've got sitting on there. Plus, it's probably a good thing, because I don't need the window open and my dog running around outside so you could, watch him, cut a long cigar in the middle of this video. That wouldn't be cool. Alrighty, so thank you so much for hanging with me on this rather extended episode of The Plastic Planet. I hope you've enjoyed this extensive room tour of the new and improved Plastic Planet / archive room. I'm thrilled, just thrilled pink with how it came out. I'm tickled pink with how it came out. Looking really nice, honestly. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little tour. And, you know what? As always, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Please like it. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because I'd love to have you on board the Plastic Planet. So, anyway, that's going to wrap things up. And you know what? Hey, guys, you know what? Get out there and buy something. Let me be your enabler. You know what? Don't worry about it. Just go out and buy something fun. You deserve it. I want to be your enabler. I want to be like your drunk brother that takes you to the bar after you get out of your AA meeting, or your asshole friend that drives you over to DQ when you're on a diet and fires you up a free Blizzard. You know Blizzard. You know what kind of Blizzard I'm talking about. You know, with the cookie dough and the Oreo in it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I want to be that enabler friend for you. So get out there and buy something. Have fun and have a great week, guys. All right, till next time. Take it easy.
Oh, Thursday night traffic. You're such a fickle whore.
It's just your good pal, Uncle Knick-Knack.